Welcome to the Sanctuary. I'm Kyle, and tonight I'm doing a special video. This is a contest entry. Steve over at A is for Alice, B is for Bob, C is for contest. He went and bought himself a CD box set of Miles Davis with John Coltrane and their years at Columbia Records. So it's all the albums they made with Columbia Records from 1955 to 1961. Now, Steve himself has said in the past that he doesn't really like jazz. He saw this out in the wild. He bought it and had a good faith intention of listening to it to see if he liked it, and he didn't. So he still hates jazz. So the contest is he wants people to answer the question, does jazz suck? Now, I am here to say emphatically no, and I'm going to give a few reasons why. First off, it's the only musical genre that was wholly created in the United States of America. Yes, that's right. America can claim jazz as its own. And we also have to remember that jazz as a genre is well over 100 years old at this point. I mean, the earliest recordings of jazz is Scott Joplin doing his piano rags. Dixieland jazz, that's jazz, and jazz has evolved as modern society has evolved. And so in the 1920s and 1930s, these comedies were made. I'm sure Steve knows this. Anybody of a certain age knows The Little Rascals, because they started in the silent era and went all the way up through 1938, being produced at Hal Roach Studios. And all the music, all the incidental music that's in the background of those shorts, people will recognize them immediately once they hear them. Well, they were written by Leroy Shield, and you could consider that as jazz music, because that's what it was at the time. Here's a bland looking CD set that I bought at a garage sale. It's 3 CDs. It's called They Sold a Million. And this is all what you could consider big band era type of jazz from the 40s and 50s. People like Glenn Miller, Patti Page, Tommy Dorsey and his orchestra, Bing Crosby, Frank Sinatra with Harry James in his orchestra, Nat King Cole, Billy Eckstine, Ella Fitzgerald, Les Paul and Mary Ford. He wasn't a rock and roller, he was playing jazz. So that's, the 40s, and that music had a huge cultural and societal impact on America. And, in England, it was the music of World War II. So, fast forward to, the early 50s, and you've got bebop coming along, and Charlie Parker and Dizzy Gillespie. And this music was, written and composed by dedicated musicians. And this music became, again, still popular around the world, especially in France and in Europe, and as well as in the States. And that time period of that box set, 1955 to 1961, is very much socially significant, because that music is the quintessential soundtrack of the youth phenomenon known as the Beat Generation, whose reverberations from that day are still being felt now. Maybe not as strong, but they're still there here and there. And we'll get into that a little bit later. But so there was a feeling back then that this music was sophisticated music. It could be enjoyed by the intellectuals and a common man alike. And people did enjoy it. A wide range of people enjoyed it. And it was, sophisticated. It could be visceral, and, it was melodic and harmonic, and allowed the instrumentalists to stretch out their own musical ideas through their individual solos on their instruments, And not only that, I would also like to say that the great drummers of the 1960s were all fans of the jazz drummers, all the greats: Ringo Starr, Charlie Watts, Mitch Mitchell, Ginger Baker, John Densmore. All those guys liked the jazz drummers. Further evidence is seen in The Who's Quadrophenia. They're singing about Charlie Parker. And it has a strong impact. And then later on, incorporating the funk and R&B elements and the more electronic use of guitars and electrical instruments and synthesizers. Well, you had Miles Davis branching out into fusion. Jazz fusion was born, and that lasted, pretty much all the way up to the early 80s. And so, like, everything splintered off, So in that sense, too, you might not like that particular era or style of jazz, but you might appreciate the jazz stylings of other artists, maybe like Billy Joel. He's got some elements of jazz in his playing. Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention. Listen to Khaki Sack from the Whiskey Go-Go Live 1968. That's jazz. And also, the 73 and 74 era bands. Zappa has a lot of that same tonal texture sound that you wrapped yourself in that the big bands gave you too. So all I'm saying is that jazz does not suck. It's culturally significant. It's an export of the United States of goodwill to the rest of the world. I mean, Louis Armstrong was an ambassador for the United States to visit countries behind the Iron Curtain and play jazz for them, So for me, I'm not here to get anybody to, you're wrong for not liking jazz. No. And in no way is my little mini dissertation going to convince anyone that they should like jazz. All I'm saying is that whether you like jazz or not, it's a significant musical art form that can't be denied. And that's the end of my contest entry. I hope that, I know I went on a little too long, but I said what I wanted to say. And I thank you all for listening. Steve, I'm in New Jersey. And I appreciate the opportunity, man. And I love watching all the different channels in the vinyl community. Again, just to see this, people that have the same interests and people that listen to stuff that I never have, because it gives me the impetus to want to hear it for myself. And that's what we're all here for. We're here to press on and be unified in our love of music. Sure, there's stuff that we're not going to like, but that's small compared to our overall love and camaraderie for music itself. And with that, again, thank you all for watching, and never be afraid to enter the pleasure den of the absurd.